Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I am currently sitting outside the Iriya, or like the municipal center in Jerusalem, and it is so beautiful and such a gorgeous day, and there's a breeze, and I feel very lucky to be here in Yerushalayim. So this week's parsha is Devarim. We're starting the book of Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, the fifth book of the Torah, which makes sense because we're nearing the end of summer, and as we know, we restart the Torah after the high holidays in September, October. So we're about to finish the whole Torah. We got 1 through 4, now we're starting 5. And the characterization of this parsha is that it takes place over about 5 weeks, that it's Moshe's final sort of soliloquy to the Jewish people, basically reminding everyone what's happened, retelling sort of the story since the Jewish people were brought out of Egypt and into the desert. And there's a lot of good stuff in this parsha, but what I want to talk about is actually the very first words of the parsha. The parsha starts with Ele ha-Devarim asher diber Moshe. The following are the words that Moses spoke. So this week's parsha starts with Ele ha-Devarim asher diber Moshe. The following are the words that Moses spoke. So this is before his 5-week speech that he's giving before he sent the people of Israel into the land of Israel. And it's Devarim is like utterances or words or things. These are the things that Moses said, and that's where we get the name of the parsha as well as the name of the book of the Torah. But what's significant is that the first time that Moses meets God, all the way back in the book of Shemot, or the book of Exodus, one of the first things that Moshe says to God, when God says, you're going to be the person who brings the people out, he says, I am not a man of words, lo ish devarim. Again, we have this word, devarim, utterances, things that were said. So Moses goes from saying, I am not a man of words, to his final thing that he does for the Jewish people is he talks. He says lots and lots and lots of words, so much so that the parsha is called Devarim, the book of the Torah is called Devarim. Moses goes from saying, I'm not a man of words, to literally being the example of a man of words. I just think it's so symbolic and special that Moses, this guy who was so humbled that he said, I'm not a man of words, becomes the literal man of words. We call him Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher. We still call him that today. Even though he was unsure of himself, even though he didn't know exactly if he was the right person for the job, he proved that he absolutely was. And I think it's just really powerful to see that our greatest leader even had moments where he was unsure of himself. But sure enough, he stepped up and did the job, and he became the Ish Devarim, the man of words. I think that's the message here. I think that we all have the power to transform ourselves to be something that we don't anticipate being, if we're only willing just to go for it, and in the way that Moses did. What I also think is powerful is when Moses says this first time, I'm not a man of words. God says, but who gave man a mouth? Who makes one dumb or deaf or seeing or blind? Is it not me? Meaning God knew Moshe's limitations, and he didn't pick them in spite of them or because of them, or maybe he picked them because of them, that he would have a little empathy, but he didn't pick them being like, maybe he'll overcome them. No, he was picked because of them, because of who he is, and because of the unique set of characteristics that made him the right person to be the leader of the Jewish people. And that leads us into Tisha B'Av, which is on Sunday. So Tisha B'Av, we lament the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. We still mourn for it 2,000 years later. And we say that the destruction of the temple was due to sinat chinam, baseless hatred between Jews. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of hatred between Jews, politically, in regarding to the war, in regarding to a lot of things. I think the 9 days can be a little bit heavy, and I personally am not in a great state of feeling good about the state of the world. And so I think oftentimes we focus on this, as a whole, the Jewish people together, and that perhaps this Tisha B'Av, what I'm going to focus on is individually, what can I do that's better? As we're learning about the individual in regard to Moshe, and then we're thinking about the Jewish people as a whole with Tisha B'Av, and maybe this year it's just too big and too heavy to focus on changing the world. As we, there's that great story, the way that you can truly change the world is to change yourself. And if all of us feel that way, perhaps we can change the world. So wishing you all a meaningful fast and a Shabbat Shalom.